Alright, we're up to our video 3 on Nikius, 4th week. Okay, so we spoke before about theft, and we spoke about immorality, immoral thought, and now we're going to the third most done sin, the ones with the most desired and most common thing that sin people do, which is things that have to do with food. Food is a huge thing. God wants us to eat all the time. Most of our money is spent on food, and I mean a lot of people, and almost like we live to be able to eat and to survive. So it is a huge thing, but there are many things about food. I'm speaking of food in general, but let's see what the Ramchal teaches us. We have discussed thus far 2 grave root sins over whose branches people are prone to stumble because of their abundance and the mind's inclination to rationalize them in one's desire to commit them. Okay? Because where we rationalize the most about stealing, and then the most about immoral thought, and then the most about food. So the sin that ranks third in its appeal after theft and unchaste relationships is that of food prohibitions. This applies equally to trefot themselves, which is a mixture that contains something that is just not kosher. Then mixtures that contains them, meat mixed with milk, forbidden fat of food, food cooked by a non-Jew or in non-Jewish utensils, wine used in their libations, meaning for the purpose of their gods, and so therefore, or their indeterminate wine, because a chumrah not to use their wine. Blamelessness in these various areas requires great scrutiny and effort because the heart lusts after delicious foods, and because the prohibition regarding forbidden mixtures and the like may lead to monetary loss. So the particulars of these prohibitions are many, all being well-known laws that are explained in the works of the decisors. One who adopts a lenient position in these matters when the decisors, well, I don't know how to say, when the one who have told us to be stringent, so the rabbis thought to be stringent, only corrupts his soul. So we have to be careful not to be lenient when it comes to food, because it's very easy to be lenient and to make mistakes. This is what they said in Sifrei: you shall not make yourself unclean with them, that you should be defiled by them. If you make yourself unclean with them, you will in the end become defiled by them. Meaning it's not just that it's a sin to do that. When you eat, it really actually affects you. It transforms, it creates a barrier, a numbness of spirituality. Because it goes straight into your body, and we know we're affected, and the mind is affected when you are what you eat. So it's like one of the first things when we tell someone becoming religious or spiritual is change your diet. I mean, that's true in almost any religion. Change your diet because it affects you. This is because forbidden foods actually bring real defilement into a person's heart and soul, to the point that the holiness of God, blessed be He, departs and withdraws from Him. So as a consequence, it's not the consequence of the sin, that's something else, but it's the consequence of that food blocks your spiritual arteries. So, you know, you want to do bodybuilding, you want to be strong and powerful. If you eat fat, bad food, unhealthy, you're not going to be able to make it. It's going to affect you. So everybody understands that, but understand that there's a soul, and therefore, if you want to connect to your soul, you have to have a body that has connected easily. The same thing was also stated in the Talmud: you will be defiled by them. Read not venit mem tem, you will be defiled, but venitam tem, you will become dull-hearted. It's another way to understand the word in Hebrew. For sin dulls a man's heart, for it removes from him the true knowledge and the spirit of reason that the Holy One, blessed be He, gives to the pious. Because our body is a vessel to receive the light. But if the vessel is filled up with bad stuff, the light cannot enter in, and therefore whatever light comes in is become mixed with darkness, and we can't think straight. Like someone eats unhealthy food, his mind is not stable, and therefore in a way, that's my Rebbe says, if you want to know who to learn Torah from, learn to see how they eat. As we know, the Torah was only given to people who can eat man, right? So the way you eat shows what type of person you are in life. It shows what type of Talmid Chacham you are. As it is stated, for the Lord gives wisdom. Hence, the remains beastly and coarse, immersed in the grossness of this world. So that's what happened. If you don't eat the right thing, you become like a beast. We are here to elevate our body. This is something to understand. It's not here, I'm feeding my body and so that it survives. No. You need your body also in Olam Haba. And therefore what you give him here is to give him what he needs to be transformed and elevated into Olam Haba. And that needs to happen also through the food you eat. The forbidden food, one of the most important things to achieve holiness, I believe the Ramchal speaks about it, but he says in all the Sfarim Kedoshim, you want to be holy, work on eating. Here I'm speaking specifically about how you eat, but the kosher, non-kosher is even more important. Because if you don't eat kosher in the first place, even if you eat in a nice way, it doesn't help. The forbidden foods are worse in this regard than all the other prohibitions, because they quite literally enter a person's body and becomes part of his very flesh. It's like you letting the Yetzer Hara coming into you when you eat bad foods. It's crazy, right? So you let even more and more Yetzer Hara coming in. So it becomes even harder. Already our Yetzer Hara is stronger than us, and there's an unbalance. There's more Yetzer Hara than Yetzer Tov. And now with the food, you're just giving even more strength. In order to teach us that the unclean category embraces not only unclean beasts and reptiles, but also animals as a kosher species that are treif, the verse states to distinguish between the unclean and the clean. Our rabbis, may their memory be blessed, explained this as follows. It is not necessary to say that one should understand the distinction between an ass and a cow. Then what is the meaning of between the unclean and the clean? Between what is unclean to you and what is unclean to you? Between an animal, the greater part of whose windpipe has been severed, and one where only half of its windpipe has been severed. And what is the difference between the greater part and half? A hair's breadth. So the question is like, what's so precise? You have to shecht an animal, yeah, right? You have to slaughter an animal. So okay, what's the difference between a bit there, between windpipe? Like it looks like there's so many minute things. What's like by a hair's hand breadth? So they concluded the passage with the words, and what is the difference between the greater part and half, the hair's breadth, in order to show how marvelous the power of the mitzvah is, that the mere hair's breadth differentiates between the unclean and the clean. You shecht like that is different than like that. The reason they're so precise in the laws of kashrut is because the laws of kashrut affects us so much. That's why they're so precise with the food. Because it has such an impact on us. So anyone with sense will regard forbidden food as if it were poison or had some poison mixed in it. You want to eat only kosher? Look at non-kosher as poison. Would you even try? Were that actually the case, would a person be lax and allow himself to eat of such food if there were any room for concern or even at the least apprehension? Would be like, I don't know, it's okay, once it's poison, you're gonna die from it. If you felt like that, there's no room that hechsher, it looks okay, you will never do it for poison, so why you do it for food? Non-kosher food, or potential non-kosher food. Surely he will not, and if he did, he will be regarded as an absolute fool. Even himself will look at himself as a fool as he's dying. Regarding forbidden food, we have already explained that it is quite literally poison for the heart and soul. If so, that what intelligent person would be lenient when there is a suspicion of a prohibition? It is said with regard to this, put a knife to your throat if you are the master of your soul. You're a master of your soul, then you know every second you might die. Therefore, I act every second as if I have my knife at my throat, and any doubt can be the last thing. So why would I do that? Right? Okay, so that was about, how you say, learning about food. And the next thing is about speech. Speech actually big, but we're going to stop here. We'll do speech tomorrow, even though it's a big one. We'll do a big one tomorrow. Baruch Adonai L'olam, amen, be'amen.